Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. Really excited to have all of our mills modules, buildings, trains, etc. back in the Lego room after the recent show that we were displaying at. Always a huge job to haul everything out to the show. It took us a couple of car loads to get things to the show, and then a couple car loads to get everything back here to the Lego room. Lots and lots still to do. I've managed to get everything back down into the Lego room here, but still need to work on getting the layout set up again, and there's some repair work to be done. So let's take a quick tour around the room and see where everything's at. So starting out on the far side of the room here, we've got the old engine shed. Really happy with how this Bricklink Designer program set has worked out. It's a great module here in the layout, and it transported super well to and from the show. So super happy about that. That being said, there's still a number of things that I would like to do with this module. I had a lot of great feedback at the show and on the video that we posted about it when we finished building it. I would like to add some supporting structures around it, maybe a little fuel depot. I think somebody mentioned a foreman's office. It would be nice to maybe work in another set of track nearby to the shed. So I'm going to be looking at some different ways that we can kind of expand the footprint of this module and just give it a little more room to sort of breathe and to sort of show itself off. I think it's amazing, and it's just one of those things that we just need to add to it and maybe free up a little more room right around the immediate front doorway there where there's a lot of stuff packed in. But really happy with that module. I didn't have the lights turned on in the module for the show. That is one of the general sort of overarching things that I would like to keep working on between now and the next show, is increasing the footprint of the layout that is powered. We've started to add those horizontal power connectors into a number of the modules in the rail yard area. And I really want to make a push to get a number of additional modules hooked up to that so that we can start to consistently have some power running through this half of the layout over here and not just through the city. And if we can get that working, that'll allow us to potentially have a section of modules at a show that are powered as well. So want to really make a push on the lighting side of things, but super happy with how that module worked out. Next up, we've got the Telegraph tower. This was an awesome module. Really happy with how this has worked out so far. Definitely need more of these smaller footprint modules for use in the layout here in the Lego room and for taking out to shows. Between this and the water tower module, just nice little components that you can slot in very easily into different parts of a layout, and they just fit and work really well. So quite happy with this, and definitely going to be working on several more modules like this with the smaller footprint that have a train sort of theme to them. Next up, we've got the warehouse building. You can see it in the two halves here. I've been really happy with this module, but it definitely needs some work. There are some components that still need to get finished off on the interior and around some of the roof line that I just have been putting off, and I need to make a push to finish those up. But beyond that, the modules, the way I have them right now, they don't travel super well to and from a show, and you can see There's some different parts that are coming apart a little bit. And, I think I really need to kind of reimagine and rework this module, maybe create a different style of Mills module for it to live on, something, where it'll be a bigger footprint to carry it out to a show, but something that'll help it have a bit more structural integrity and strength. And I would like to change the shape of the building a little bit so that the doorway here can open and close regardless of the track. So maybe raising up the building a little bit so that it works better around that track going into the building there. While I'm doing that, I would definitely like to add power to the module. I think it could benefit from a lot of the same lighting that I added to the train engine shed module. So this is a module where I think I'm going to need to take a couple steps back, maybe sort of take down what I've got here. I can still keep most of the chunks here, but kind of rebuild the bottom of this and then build up from there again, because I think this looks really cool and I want it to be more of a finished, polished piece that is easy to move in and out of the room here, as well as, something that integrates well with the lighting work that we're doing around the layout. So this is going to be a big thing over the next few months here. One of the projects I want to tackle as we continue to add different modules to the layout. I think this will be a cool one once it's done. And with that rebuilding, I think I'm going to end up moving it over to this end of the layout over here so that it integrates with the train siding, or the rail siding that I have on this side of the layout here. So that is my idea. I'm going to try to move it over there, and the Eiffel Tower will probably move over into the middle of this part of the layout. But this is definitely a module that I like, but needs some love to sort of take it up to that finished sort of top-notch level. So expect some different work and projects around that. Another module that had a tough time in transit was our signal bridge here, that usually sits in this part of the layout right here. With the way that it's shaped, it generally has, takes a little more abuse when it gets moved. And with that, I've been talking about some different ways to make this a bit more modular. And this is another one that I think I'm going to spend a bit of time with to sort of polish it up and make it a more robust module that is easier to move in and out of the layout. Definitely want to have the different floors be, sort of like right across here where the bridge part of it lives over top of the tracks. Want all of that to be able to separate off into its own module for transport. And then maybe another, I don't know whether it be about right here or right here, have another chunk that can come off for transportation purposes. Also thinking about moving this. Currently it's on a half base plate here. The track is independent in the middle, and then we've got another half base plate that sits on this side over here. I think I'm going to turn it into possibly a full base plate module across with like a full 32 by 32 module for this part of the tower track, have that worked into the module, and then have a third 32 by 32 that handles the other side of the signal bridge. And then, like I said, the top part can come off, the middle part can probably come off. The roof is already something that can detach from the overall building there. With that, we can work some different lighting in. The bigger footprint will probably give us some opportunities for some different landscaping around the module, which could be nice. And this is also one that I think would really benefit from some lighting being added into it. So, kind of reworking the footprint of the module is a good opportunity to get that lighting in there. But super happy overall with the module. I think it's a really cool idea. Love the way the structure looks and how, it goes over top of the double mainline track. Again, just something that I think we can spend a little bit of time on, making it easier to transport and also just sort of bump up the coolness factor, the wow factor, and make it a more complete module. So definitely some work ahead on that one. Although really, I think this one should be pretty simple. I don't think it's going to be too bad to add in those modular or to make those different components modular. And it should be relatively easy to move it on to a bigger base plate, Mills module footprint. So I think this is one that we can get tackled pretty quickly, but we'll see how that starts to come together. The last big module that's sitting over here at the moment is the freight house, which we just recently finished. This is one where if you didn't watch the video that I posted about it, basically when I got to the very end, I realized that the way this module interacts with the track that sits next to it was not really what I wanted. The platform here, as designed currently, ends up overhanging the track running by the freight house. And I would rather not have that so that I can still run larger, freight cars through that part of the layout. So I'm going to basically just make some revisions to this module by moving everything 2 or 3 studs over, just to give enough real estate on this side here that we can get the nice platform added in front of the loading bay windows there, or loading bay doors, I should say, and not interfere with the track. So I think that should be relatively straightforward. So I'm going to be making that change as well. I think that'll just be a nice way to polish off this particular module. And again, this is one where I think we can add some lighting and, it should work out really well. I don't think this will be an upfront change that I make, but I'm also toying with changes to the loading bay door areas here. You can see currently they're the masonry bricks, so there's obviously nothing that you can open or close. But I think it would be kind of cool if, with the platform outside the loading bay there, if you were actually able to have, doorways, whatever that might be, whether it's a vertical sliding, sort of entrance to the loading area there or otherwise. I think it would be cool to be able to have these open up. So I'm going to toy with some different ideas and see what we might do there, but I could definitely see us changing away from that solid brick, doorway filler there to something that's a little more dynamic and gives us some different opportunities to, showcase, if those open up and you've got the nice platform here, you could do some cool things with figures loading up a box car, etc. Could be really fun, and it would allow us to show off if we add some interior details to this part of the freight house as well. So another thing with a few different modifications we want to make, but the big thing up front with this one is going to be to push the module over a little bit so that we can get that platform added in a way that doesn't negatively affect any railway track moving past the building. One other thing I will mention while I'm over here, I did have some comments at the show. This is one of the first shows in a while that I haven't displayed the wind turbines at. There were some people that were disappointed not to see them. I'd like to get these sort of polished up again and, able to go out to a show. So definitely expect to see these guys running again soon. And Probably, I would imagine later on in the winter, closer to the next show that we display at, we will do some work on turning those into a smaller footprint module, but something that gives them a nice grounded base there, so that we can take them out to the shows and integrate them easily with the layouts. But I love these wind turbines. They look amazing, especially when they're moving around while the trains are running. So, expect to see these in action again soon. And then hopefully we can get them to the point where they're ready to go to a show again. The grain elevator is in the process of being reassembled. I love the fact that it is a modular structure now. And like I've mentioned before, I want to keep working on that and increase the modularity of it. But the grain elevator, its little support building, the top part of the grain elevator, they looked awesome. They moved really well in and out of the show and in and out of the Lego room. So nothing major there in the short term. But like I said, I do want to do some polish work around it, continue to make it more modular. I've got some ideas of changes that would be cool to make to the loading area over there. I've got some instructions for a grain trailer and truck that would be nice to have paired up with this module, as well as some other sort of agriculture related builds that I think would not only play well with the grain elevator sort of generally speaking, but could allow it to have more of a sort of agricultural sort of area around it, which would be fun as well. But continue to be really happy with that. And we've got the lights in front of the support building there. That's another one, really want to push the integration of the wiring through the rail yard area here, so that it's really easy to get a number of these modules that we've added power to consistently powered and turned on. I think that's going to be really cool. So more work ahead there, but in the short term, really happy with how this worked, and no major changes that need to happen from a general functionality or transportation perspective. You can see here we've got our Trixbricks Monster crossover in two halves. So you can see the top half there, and the other half of it is underneath. Loved having this out at the show. I have not been able to get this to too many shows. This was the second time that I've had it out and displayed, and this was the first time it was in a spot in the layout where it could get used with some regularity, and it performed well. It's just a super amazing piece of track. In the rail yard here in the Lego room, I don't really get to put it through its paces as much as I would like, but it's amazing. I continue to be super impressed with it, and can't wait to get it integrated back into the layout here. And definitely on my list to add another one of these to our collection at some point. I think it would be a great addition to the track work that we're doing on the new underneath table layout. While we're talking about Trixbricks track modules, we've got our full T-junction here, which will be going back into its home over there at that end of the layout. And this was also super amazing. Really loved how this worked. It's a bit of a pain to move, but once it was all set up again at the show, it worked super well. It enabled us to end up having 3 train loops working at one time. So we had a train going on the outside main line that was doing a circuit around the entire layout, and then we had 2 sort of smaller loops that were coming through the rail yard using the T-junction, and that worked out really well. Was really happy to be running trains like that. It got used throughout the entire weekend. Such a powerful module, and really gives a lot of opportunity for some interesting track arrangements and ways to run trains. I had both this full T-junction there, and I had the smaller T-junction module as well, which performed well, but definitely want to add another one of these to our collection for use here in the layout. But having two of them and being able to have one sort of on either end of a rail yard at a future layout, I think would be really cool. Would give even more flexibility with the ways that trains could move in and around and through the layout. So I can't say enough good things about this. Such an amazing feat of track creation. Works super well. All the switches performed really well. It was great. So super happy with how that worked out. You'll notice I've got a ton of track modules stacked up here on the table. I've just been going through and making sure everything's all, back together and solid after being transported to and from the show. As part of that, I've been going through and trying to make sure everything is converted over to using the Trixbricks railway tie tiles. Love the look of these tiles, the 1x1s and the 1x4s. So I've been going through and trying to make sure that things that didn't have them are using them. Things that had the black tiles are getting switched over to this. And I think we're at the point now where almost or maybe everything is converted to those, with the exception of that one corner module over there. So I need to spend a little bit of time probably after I film this video and just go through and finish up converting that over to the Trixbricks railway tiles. And then we can have a nice consistent look throughout the entire layout. I think they're amazing. We're probably going to have to order some more so that we've got some options for new modules that are coming into the layout so that we can add them to those. I also have not yet added them to the full T-junction module here. So that's something I'll have to do, but it's going to be really nice to at least have the black tiles sort of weeded out and to be exclusively using the Trixbricks tiles for our railway ties. I think they will be, continue to be great. I love the way they look, and I think that going that direction is just going to be awesome for the layout as a whole. With this as well, I've got a number of track modules that are the half base plate, so 16x32 studs. I'm going to try to use the full 32x32s everywhere that I can in the layout as a first way of getting everything assembled back together, and then use the half modules in the remaining spots. I'd like to get to the point in the layout where we're mostly using the full 32x32 track modules. These are still great for shows and for sort of special spots that come up in the layout, but I'd rather not be using those in the main sort of mainline track areas. One, because when you're lifting them in and out, they tend to come apart and they're a little more flexible and not rigid, which makes it a little harder to get them installed or taken out of the layout. But also, I've got a big need for 16x32 base plates for upcoming modules that I'm working on. So if we can free up a few here, that would be great. Otherwise, I'm going to be picking up some more 16x32s for various things that we're building, because a number of modules either have a 16x32 footprint, like the telegraph tower and the water tower, or we have several things that are the 32 plus 32 base plate plus an extra 16x32 to get the full footprint for the module. So It'll be nice to work out and get free up some of the 16 by 32s that we can use. As I mentioned, was really happy with the water tower and the telegraph tower. Both excellent modules. I think they really look cool, and it's nice to have small, sort of little modules like this that you can just slot into various openings in a layout. One of the things that I added for this show was the up house. Really love the look of this set, and I had this boosted up on the transparent panels. We had it was about 4 or 5 panels high up into the air. Was something that people commented on a lot. Just a fun thing for kids to see in and around the layout, and adds an interesting bit of decor to the layout. I'm going to be keeping this in our layout here in the Lego room going forward. It's going to be something that we keep around and display in and around the layout. I do have some edits I'd like to make to the module. I've got some instructions that are going to let me add a back half to the house, so it becomes a full house, not with sort of a half house facade, which I think will just make it a lot easier for transporting it around, and it'll give it more of a polished look. So we'll be making that change, but super happy with how this worked out. A fun set and a great little decor item to have, quote unquote, floating above the layout. So super happy with that as well. Again, looking down this side of the room here, you can see more Mills modules, track related, that are all waiting to get integrated back into the mainline loop and other parts of the layout. At the very end there, we've got our double crossover, the recent track piece that we picked up from Trix Bricks. Didn't get that integrated into the show layout this year, but still super happy with how it looks and how it functions. So a great piece of track that we will be using here in the Lego room, and I'm sure it will get used at upcoming shows as well. Other things of note, our corner modules worked really well. You'll see they're missing from here and here at the moment because they're still in these stacks of Mills plates here, but those corners came apart and went back together, with relative ease. So I was happy with how that continues to work. We also need to get our rail yard switches reintegrated and put back together. We've got the one allows us to access that siding on the edge of the layout over there. We've got the rail yard switch with sidings on this edge of the layout here. And then there's another one over in front of the grain elevator over there. I made a number of changes to those modules for trying to make it easier to get them in and out of the Lego room. Probably went a little too modular. They were a little more finicky to get disassembled and reassembled at the show, but they definitely were easier to transport this time. So we'll probably continue to make some edits around that. Other modules and things that I need to tidy up. The oil tanks here, I need to finish getting these all converted over to the white cylinder pieces. So these dark gray ones should be getting phased out real soon, and I'd like to finish this module up. The other half of it is over there, so we'll be doing some tidying work on that. I think that'll be nice when it gets finished off. And there's another vehicle that I'd like to make that I think will pair up well with that particular module. In terms of trains, I think everything's pretty much back in almost one piece. There was a couple bits on the Union Pacific that need to get reassembled, but just small little things related to, getting bumped around in transport. I need to get some of the bits back on the new log car because that some parts came off there when it was being transported to and from the show. Nothing major though. Those are all really quick, or should be really quick fixes, so not too worried about that. And last but not least, we've got our lift-out bridges, all 6 of them. These performed amazingly well at the show. I figured they would work out pretty well in that, but I was really happy to see that, we had trains running over them pretty much the entire weekend. Different trains, different sizes, different weights, they were really solid. Quite happy with them. I will be keeping these together and they'll be integrated into the underside of our layout, and we will make some polishing changes to them to make sure they're ready for future shows. But I think they worked out really well and was super happy with both how they looked and how they performed. Obviously, I guess one of the tricks with this type of lift-out bridge is they are very sensitive to the size of the gap that you have between the tables. They need a very specific gap to fit and function, which worked out okay for the most part. We had to shift the tables just a little bit when I was putting them in, but other than that, they worked out really well. The track pieces that don't have the Trix bricks sort of flat end. So you can see generally this is the type of end that I want on both ends of the bridge and on both ends of the Mills module that receives the bridge piece. Because I didn't expect to make 6 of these necessarily for the show, I didn't have quite enough. So there was some track pieces that I went and just sort of manually made them work, cut them down so that they didn't have any bits that protruded over past the end of the bridge. I'll be replacing these with this style of track piece. Next time I do a Trix Bricks order, I'll get those all delivered and I'll just polish that up. These aren't too bad, but with those little sharp edges and that, it gives a few little uneven bits that trains could get caught on. We didn't really have too much trouble with that. There was one bridge piece that was a little bit more of a bump than the others, and we just minimized how much we used that. But like I said, overall, super happy with how these worked. They were amazing. Like I said, I'm going to keep them around. I don't know that we will use 6 all the time at shows, but definitely nice to have these available for use at, shows when there's a need. So lots of work ahead in the Lego room here. We've talked about some of the other projects that we're going to be working on. We still have a number of buildings and train cars that we want to build in the short term. We're going to be getting going on the upper train layout as well as the underneath table layout as well. Lots more projects beyond that. So, some pretty exciting times ahead. I'm going to try to make a big push here to get the layout fully assembled either probably by tomorrow at some point. I think I can have it all back up and running again, but we'll see how it goes. See if there's any little quirks as we're getting everything reintegrated and hooked up. But I think at this point it should go fairly quickly because things are coming back together in terms of, things that fell apart during transit. I've got things back and assembled together, so it should go fairly quickly at this point. But one of the next videos you see over the next few days here will be a running of the trains again around the layout as kind of a proof of concept that everything is back working and where it should be. And that'll be a nice milestone as we kick into some of the other projects that we're going to be working on. So, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of those upcoming videos. We've got a couple more videos from the Heritage Park Railway Days that we'll be posting. We've got some set build review videos that we're going to be posting as well. So lots of great stuff ahead on the channel. And thank you guys very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.